Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Fallout 3. We're really pushing it here and leaving this game paused for many hours now. It was already being fairly poor in its reception, in how it ran. So at any point we could have a crash. Um, as for actual gameplay related things, we need to get up into Arlington, is what I'm figuring here. And we're trying to figure out just the general way to do that. Seems like there's a lot of places here where there's walled off far drops. And Arlington was called Grey Ditch. And Three Dog specifically said that there was nobody in Grey Ditch, which kind of makes sense because the only two people I ever met in Grey Ditch was the kid that I took to Rivet Town and the scientist who was studying the giant ant. And so I may have very potentially just wandered. Why is this guy here?
Protect and serve.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Postal notes. Sample locations discovered. So it feels like while the game was just happening, that the doctor has straight up just died. Air robot on air pod empty. He's standing in the pod. And there's no way to activate this pod or anything like that. So yeah, that seems kind of ridiculous. Like really, really ridiculous that the whole so we are here. So maybe we have to work our way back this way, and this is just areas I haven't walked. There was the giant flame ants in this whole section before, but we finished that storyline. That was the them storyline. And we finished that, and then the ants all died. Or I killed them all. I may have just killed them all, actually. Yeah, I think I did. Hmm. Hmm. There's definitely some buildings here that are just not connecting. Hmm. So maybe there's a different way to get into Arlington than through Grey Ditch, because this is just completely walled off. Like Falls Church Metro. See, if this line is supposed to be a wall, then there has to be a whole different thing. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. It's incredibly stupid and pointless, though, for the game to potentially just end. I guess maybe this is the way. Like, for the game to just kind of end the character when it's not even anywhere near you and you've interacted with them hours and hours late previous. I mean, I don't even know where that iBot is. You would almost assume that the iBots would have to be continuously getting replenished because there would just be so many raiders and people willing to shoot something. Oh, hitting a little bit of radiation. That seems odd. And see, we're back outside of Arlington again. This seems to be the red rocket factory that we're walking towards now, or the yet another car factory. We've put ourselves in this path to
Ain't none of my business.
let's see.
Hey there.
Let's see, go ahead and repair that and repair that. Can this repair any of these down here? No.
A few.
Let's see, what has she got to buy? And nothing. What do we've got to sell? Sell that. And then sell some small things. Just so we can get rid of items that might be in our way.
Another satisfied. Bye. Morning.
And see, her option here is either I would need to go into stealth mode and actually try and steal this, or I just have to leave this. And we've run into several situations like this where, like,
What do you think you're doing?
it just doesn't seem like there's an actual solution to that. And so that would be the one kind of character that maybe it would almost make sense to let them randomly die, but you'd still need them to die in some scripted way. Yeah. Let's do this. We could kind of take everything back if we wanted it, but don't really care. Steal this book, steal this book, steal this comic book, steal this. We've got somebody shooting at us. A reader. Maybe this triple laser, because the beams go in different directions, has less of an aiming ability at longer distances, medium distances. Might be the case.
Come on.
But what this game is not offering to you is any assurances of security. So, like, those books, that scrap metal, that's big, important stuff. Like, that is a very finite resource. just break the lock on it since we weren't going to steal from it anyways. Just because of that. Like, those are finite resources. You can't ignore them, or at least you're not given any indication that you can ignore them. Whereas if they told me that I could always buy more books from one player, from one character, that I could always level up my skills and stats, which in all fairness, pretty much everything here is approaching 100 anyways, some other way without having to kill that character, that would have been great. And now, I guess also if those raiders were there, I could have potentially aggroed the raiders and had them chase after me. And that might have worked somewhat. They could have chased after me, gotten near the scavenger lady, and then the scavenger lady may have paid the price for that. Okay. So I guess we come down this way. I'm questioning how close I've been. Goo pile. First time we've seen a goo pile.
Do not interfere with security operations.
And then you have a bot that's not aggroed. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just not certain how close. I probably have been on this road and just didn't come this direction. I don't know if it's really worth finding them. And yeah, I guess I just didn't walk up this direction, which would have led me back towards getting close to Arlington. I could find out that Arlington is actually more of a DLC area, and it wasn't an area you could actually access in the main game. I'm leaning to believing that's not the case. And we have another nuke explosion. Just car exploding, I assume. Because all the other DLC areas tend to be kind of small, whereas this whole Arlington area, wow, look at that poorly rendering neck there. Is the neck still poorly stretched out? Yes. Yeah, we're trying to get up to this building. There's a gate here. This gate is putting us at the outpost area. And that was the thing that then we fell down to an area that looked like it was more of the outpost area. And honestly, I think we'll just do this even if this is DLC. As far as the outcast outpost. We probably need to use the local map. Yeah. This local map would be your best indicator as far as how far the how far I've traveled before. Can I squeeze between here? That was questionable. I almost feel like these canisters and containers are supposed to be indicators of some level of DLC. Too many metal boxes. Empty. Nothing. There's just way too much of an imbalance between the value of scrap metal, particularly if you get that one quest, and the value of everything else, as far as like finance clipboards and just generic junk items. Which definitely gets back to the idea that from my perspective, I don't think this is a finished game. It just does not ring true as a finished product. Like, clearly all this junk either is thrown in here because of just terrible leadership and design concepts. Oh, goalie Liddell. Interesting. Are they some kind of soccer gang?
Hold it right there. What are you doing here?
I've got the formula for Nuka-Cola Clear. Well, we've had this formula for a very long time.
Mercier didn't make it? Damn. How do they expect us to play when we don't even have enough people on our team? Well, as long as you brought the formula, I guess we're still in the game.
So they're playing some kind of sports game, or at least they think they are.
The name's Goalie Ledoux, and I'm captain of Sudden Death Overtime, the last of the ice gangs. There was a time where every city had their own ice gangs, and thousands would show up to watch them all duke it out in giant arenas. We aim to bring those days back.
I don't know if any of this is true.
Now look, you gonna sell us that formula, or do we have to face off? I'm putting 250 caps up on the scoreboard. What do you say?
Speech.
Nicely played. And I know talent when I see it. Here you go. Okay, team. Let's get out of here.
400 caps. Nuka-Cola formula removed. Winger Jarvis.
Hey, I may be just a winger now, but I'll make center soon.
So I don't know if they're supposed to be like a lacrosse type game or what. You going somewhere?
Sorry, we've got practice. Maybe we'll cross sticks again one day.
Maybe hockey? I think he's glitched though. I don't think he's gonna start walking. Even if we push him. But there's no hockey rink or anything like that. Red Racer Factory is these little bicycles, which I think in the real world they might be Radio Flyer bicycles, but Radio Flyer usually are more not tricycles, but they're pull along little, I don't know what you'd call them, hand trucks. That's the wrong word, I know, but that's the best describer. Four-wheeled pieces of metal, kind of like a wheelbarrow, but designed for kids to sit and ride in it. Much like tricycles, very old technology toys that I imagine most modern kids would have no interest in whatsoever. may be able to find like a ton of scrap metal in this facility. Which, okay. If we have any quest or reason why we would be wandering around here, I have no idea. We'll bring up the local map and look all around. Odds are incredibly low that we would find much of anything else. And it is fairly questionable, but I guess not that questionable, why there would be ammunition boxes in a facility like this. But one just assumes all of these have been picked over hundreds of times over, and people have tried to use these buildings as places to live out of for a long time. It's just all over the place though. This is really an experiment in over-generating levels. Like, we're still looking for, interesting, a fire hydrant in there. Like, we're still looking for a bobblehead, so there's that possibility that there would be a bobblehead or a book. There we go. And so we've now just found some feral ghouls. And the glowing one probably was the one that was making the glowing piles. Okay. At this point, you go 3 here. You go at least a 60 here. You go 1 here. I think we're fine here. And so do we want to put more into barter or more into sneak? We'll go with that. Do we have any new things? All special stats that are less than 5 would be increased to 5. There's no reason why you would take this, though, if you're going to take the almost perfect. And you almost have to take the almost perfect. Now, there is a slight concern there that you take the almost perfect and it raises everything to 9, and then these special bobbleheads don't bring things to 10. But even at that, you're still pretty good. Instantly set to neutral. Set to very evil. Seemingly, I don't have the option here to set my karma to very high. But what I'm going to do is just take puppies. With that perk now, we can go next time we're at Megaton, and we'll just grab dog meat, and he'll just be our companion. Considering how, unlike Skyrim, there's really not any opportunities in this game to get very many companions. There very possibly are only 2 companions in the entire game. One of which is mainline story based, and one of which is dog meat. And I don't know if dog meat would be at the same level that I would be at. If that is the case, then dog meat should be effectively as immortal as I am. Anyways. Little water fountains built into the walls. Hmm. Yeah. Just seems oddly empty, this whole area. Remember, there was this whole story line that where one of the guys was, one of the ghouls was trying to find a cure for the ghouls, and seemingly that story just doesn't end, doesn't go anywhere either. Like, because that didn't turn into a major quest. They didn't ask us to do anything or go anywhere with it. We just had the guy doing unethical experimentation on one of the ranger girls. I guess maybe this is just a area to potentially find a lot of bottle caps. I mean, it does kind of feel like that's all that's going on here. Seriously, a dungeon like this, if you're going to have no story around it and nothing to do in it, this is the kind of stuff you leave on the cutting room floor, and then you have writers either write some story around it, or you and then you release it for the next game, or you have writers write some story for it and release it in this game. What you don't do, however, is just make it a thing. And at least Skyrim, even though they didn't actually do anything, do either, Skyrim gives you dungeons, caves mostly, and when you get through the end of those caves, you usually get a dragon tongue spell. 85% chance to pick this lock. Nothing in there. So, if there had always been a book in these facilities, and if it had just been the case that they had some kind of pedestal like device that put books in prominence, and some of these dungeons, like the early dungeons, should straight up just have a window in which you see where did this guy come from? Like, if like the very first dungeon you ever entered had a window and you could see a book as like on the pedestal, and that was your quest just once to get that book, then you would have learned. Looks like there's gas in this facility. I have no idea where these guys came from. Here we have another ham radio. There could be some high value in turning on ham radios even if nobody's around, because then you could listen in on those frequencies to see if somebody enters a certain area and effectively create a security system of sorts in many locations of the overworld. And it wouldn't always have to be a book. It could be a book sometimes. It could be a pile of caps sometimes. Like, it could be people sometimes that you might want to rescue or rob. Like, the general concept of somebody going into an area and then getting trapped and surrounded by a bunch of ghouls, and then you being able to rescue them for a reward or kill them and rob them for a bigger reward. Like, that kind of concept every now and then would work fairly well. We are all over the place on this map. There's a CEO offices, and so I'm gonna have to just assume that's where we're going. I don't like that the roamers and the reavers have the same general name. Just made some more Nuka-Cola Quantum. Yeah. I'm not doing probably a very good job at all looking at all of this facility. It's just going to be real easy to have potentially missed something over here. Real easy to potentially miss something over here. It doesn't seem like a lot of this matters. There's no way that you could crawl through this and get squeezed, where that concept would have been kind of cool if you had to crawl through a smaller area and actually learn how to use the crouching ability, which you don't ever actually have to use in the game. And if you were crawling through a small area and there was a bunch of rad roaches or ants or things that would jump scare you, that would be cool. This does kind of feel like this is a bit of an experiment in how do you get from point A to point B. It's maze-like environment. Does seem to be a little more confounding than it should be. Let's see. There could be just named guns, certainly, too, instead of books or bobbleheads. Still getting XP. So there's still reason to continue playing. And you come into an area like this and you're just immediately doing the OCD searching for items so much that I'm not even really keeping my eyes up to see if there's an enemy. And I'm so overpowered that even if there was a super mutant or something in this room, it could hit me just fine and I would not have a problem. Here's some smaller scaled down versions of the tricycle models. You came in here. How are we missing it? It must be higher up. Like up this way. Seems to be right past the CEO's office, which means there must be a higher up platform. Yes. I think that is our goal. Which means we need to get up higher there. Or there, and we can even hear the guy walking around. So it's a vertical maze on top of just being a bunch of barrels in the way. On top of it being a flat maze, it's also got vertical elements to it. Okay. And every time I reload, it makes a odd mine sound effect. I didn't think this guy was going to attack me from a distance. That changes the consideration on whether I should have shot this guy and aggroed him. Like, this could go badly. He's really wrecking me. And for 3 bottle caps, that is totally not worth it. Stim packs, stim packs, stim packs, specific limbs. And yeah, I guess anything could be around here. Almost feels like you should activate some radios, deactivate some radios. Like this radio took forever to start playing noise. All that's up here is scrap metal. Yeah, it almost feels like there might be some weird puzzle around this to unlock something, but if there is a weird puzzle like that, then I have no idea about it. It would stand out as being particularly complicated in a game that definitely gives you the feeling it's not that complicated in every other instance. But then again, we did also find like that hidden stash rock because of a strategy guide. Here. Hidden. This. Back of the head. Sneak attack criticals. Even still not good enough. So it's not me reloading that's making the mine sound. It's something about the reaver falling down and dying that's making the mine sound effect. And I can't help but just assume that that's a glitch. How are we on the local map now? I'm gonna generally assume that I've seen everything there is to see and go to the CEO's room. Like, this is an experiment. We really haven't seen this either, with boards going across broken platforms. This only really works with something like reavers, and specifically reavers that can attack you from a distance. If this was mole rats and I was just hitting mole rats or rad roaches from above and they couldn't shoot back, that would kind of suck. If this was humans or raiders and I was shooting them from above, they could shoot back, but their pathfinding is probably so terrible that they wouldn't be able to reach the heights of these platforms. I just don't think the pathfinding is good enough. And as I predicted, the game crashed, which hopefully that saved before it crashed. If not, then we may be back at the beginning of the whole factory. Which at this point, trying to see everything is no longer even something I care about, so I think what I would do here is let's just try and get as much experience as possible. We kind of know that there's a whole bunch of scrap metal around these places. There's a bunch of zombies around these places. There's things we can try and force. Any different choices we want to make? I don't think so. So we'll just move through that fast. A lot of these places do have scrap metal in them. I may just mentally make a note that this would be the place to go to get scrap metal. Instead of like looking in every single metal box for scrap metal. Because yes, that could have been the beginning of the end as far as any real need to ever grind again. We really have enough experience for the remaining 5 levels anyways. Like doing all the DLC and stuff that will easily get us 5 levels up. And just dry firing at everything. And I'm just randomly searching for things to shoot, or searching for places where there might be scrap metal. It's not a case of me really remembering where things are. Alright. This guy's irradiating me. The glowing one is. Wow. I did not realize that the glowing ones could do that much radiation to you. That was kind of intense. Kind of intense, to say the least. That glowing ones really did have an attack pattern. Just break that. Yeah, let's just run around here. I didn't know that you could get your screen covered in blood. Also, something exploded on you. See, this implies that there's another building over here, and it's just that room up there. What have we not seen? This area? Yeah, there was a decent amount of Nuka-Colas also. Some of these I didn't even search. So I don't know why that just exploded. Guess maybe that exploded. Can't really crawl under here. Let's see. Go this direction. Yeah. And I imagine what we're just going to pull off here is a percentage-wise collection of the scrap metal. Maybe we'll get 70 to 80% of the scrap metal, but not all of it. Which, that's fine. We are potentially also at a point where we could just swear off collecting any more scrap metal anyways, because we're not 100% sure, but it feels definitely like just doing the main quest would probably give enough experience to just doing the main quest would probably give enough experience to get me to max level. assuming you get even just like the usual 300. This again feels like there's some upper areas. Just a workbench. With the workbench, though, really have synergized with all the other junk in this facility. Have we been everywhere? I think we probably have. Been far enough. The existence of the ammunition boxes as a source that only ever has ammunition in it is a tacit admittance that they knew their balance was off in this game. Like, there's no deniability in it after that point, because they made an accommodation, probably from quality testers' feedback, talking about how they would have told them that the game was a little wonky and rough when it comes to bullets. Already been here. We need to find a way up. Which means factory. Interesting. It's just a teddy bear floating. Yeah, I guess after getting the ghoul mask in particular, if you came to this factory, you could get a significant amount of scrap metal early in the game and jump up several points. Although I question whether that would really help you that much, because you probably would just take perks that would prove to be fairly useless. Even now, half the perks that I've taken do feel like they're pretty useless and don't have any continued value or any even initial value in their implementation. They sound good on paper, but then they don't play well. Now I'm just wandering around trying to find the right path. This maze-like atmosphere. This light, I think, is supposed to indicate the right way, and this light is supposed to indicate the right way. I think there is a lot of attempt here to point you in the right direction. Up we go. And hopefully all of these connect. I think they do. It's not really working, I would say. No. Yeah, the game does, this design does not directly push me towards knowing just subconsciously the right direction. Obviously, because I got lost quite a bit around here. I guess I've killed everybody or moved people around. Bobby pin. And see, this definitely would be an experiment in using a radio without it being a thing. This doesn't make any sense, and I guess this explains why we don't really see barrels in the game used any more than they are. It's because they are just kind of constantly in the way. He just tried to jump. Didn't know they could even jump. Where are you? Is he trying to pathfind and running throughout the entire facility, or is he just lost and trying to attack me? Barrel goal. Yeah. I don't see him. But he's around here somewhere. I'm kind of shocked that he was actually able to pathfind all the way to that location. I don't think it's worth your effort to jump down here and see that area. I guess that is a slight testament to pathfinding actually maybe working sometimes. But I think very few players would have ever been in that situation. Alright, well, let's make a safety save and go through here, and it probably will load just fine. Like, we haven't had any game breaking bugs in the game, at least as far as we've been able to figure. It is a little surprising that we are now fighting super mutants. But I would almost say I would prefer more dungeons to be like this, where you get into a deeper part of the dungeon and then all of a sudden you're fighting a whole different tier of enemy. And so there might be scenarios where you clear out floor 1 of a dungeon and then realize you're not leveled up enough to take on floor 2. And so then you would just have to exit and come back later. Chip broadcast terminal. I have no idea what this is about. Again, it feels like there might be some quest that we just haven't started. And no, it's immediate. 4 of 9 are correct. Intricate. It's all of Roboco Industries. Diary level 2. I've used materials from the small explosive cache I found to further safeguard myself from my experiments. I have wired the building to broadcast a signal from this terminal that will, in emergency, will detonate all chips. I pray that day never comes. Disable chips. Is that what's been going on with the whole, like, grenade thing? Have there been slave callers on all these characters? Or chips in the brains of all these characters? The thing here is I want a very light touch. But yeah, I don't want chips to blow up on the heads of anybody, not just because I want to be a nice guy, but also because, or a nice girl, since I'm playing as a female character, but also because I want to shoot them in the face myself and get that experience points. If I could detonate all the chips, or whatever they are, and blow up everything. There's a book there that I easily could have overlooked. And nearly did. If I could get experience for blowing up everything, then by all means, I would just blow up everything and then take all the experience for killing everything around here. So this feels to me like this might be another vault story scenario, except for this time it's not in a vault where the CEO has decided to do some weird experimentations around toys, some level of brainwashing or something. It wouldn't even surprise me if the CEO of this toy company actually, or this toy company actually was a subsidiary of Vault-Tec. That would be what a theoretical Fallout 6 should be, is that there should be this revelation that Vault-Tec has secretly been in charge of a lot of these bad guys, and it's been their plan all along. The Brotherhood project would have, the Brotherhood of Steel would have been a project implemented and planned by Vault-Tec. We have a super mutant monster here with his head missing. So maybe I did accidentally blow up the chips. Maybe it should have been a case. We got the surgeon.
What I tell you about looking at me like that? Are you in the mood for a busted mouth or something? I'm not in the mood for you, asshole.
I've never talked to this guy. We have this guy called the surgeon. This feels extremely reminiscent of BioShock, where there was a surgeon and a crazy guy doing surgery or torturing people. Yeah. I will say BioShock did it better, certainly, because that was a real cinematic introduction to the surgeon in BioShock 1, and then that led to a big boss fight where here I've just walked into this place and I have like no quest at all, and no idea why I'm dealing with this person or anything. He doesn't want to talk to me. He seems like he's on my side. Seems like I can just take anything outside of his, inside of his whole range, which normally you would have.
I'm not in the mood for you, asshole.
Like, normally you would have a lot of complaints here. But everything seems fine to open. So did I, because I disabled the chips, somehow already ingratiate myself with him? Or did I ingratiate myself with him some other way? Doing some other activity? I mean, you just never know. I could have gained his favor by killing any number of people or giving the Nuka-Cola clear formula to the people outside. You just don't know. Here's another surgeon's notes thing. Just feels kind of unfinished. Like, wouldn't it have made a lot of sense for him to get on a intercom and talk to you and give you a particular quest to come meet him at the beginning, and then you'd have a conversation? Or he could be the antagonist and in an intercom as soon as you entered the factory. He could have threatened you and told you to come no further. See, first ghoul chips. So my earlier chip prototypes, they C4 have started to malfunction, causing the chips to overheat and eventually detonate the implanted charge. In retaliation, I've upgraded the P7 series and above to counter this malfunction. I have also altered the Y2 series in the mutants as a precaution. Ghouls are easily replaceable, mutants are not. Had to alter the chips for the mutants to account for their greater size. Fortunately, they exhibit a higher intellect than the ghouls and can be controlled to even greater extent. The enthralled mutants have mentioned legends of larger mutants, also almost twice as big as the ones I've captured. If only I could get my hands on one of those to the experiment. The experiments says the experiments, the fun. So yeah, it seems to me like I may have disabled the chips, and now he's not particularly mad at me about that, but that has kind of ended whatever quest or storyline would have been here, and that seemingly in blowing up and disabling the chips blew up the people instead of freeing them. Alright. You know what we should do is we'll go ahead and make a save. Overwriting that save, which was stupid in case I wanted to change it, but I can't actually care enough to really want to go back and not disable the chips. Stefan. Wastelander. So, Stefan here. And a Nuka-Cola Quantum. Yep. But he's not doing anything. Like, you would have thought that I would have freed him, and then he would have wandered out here and attacked this guy. And this is the best I can figure, is if you have a dud and a dud, you might as well exit out. If you have something that is close, you might stick with it and break a bobby pin. Hmm. 3 bobby pins left. Two bobby pins left. Let's try this again. One bobby pin left. No bobby pins left. And locked out. There we go. Was there something we found over here? Otherwise, no. Save. Overwrite that save. Take that. Save. New save. There's just nothing here at all. Preparing. We planted villagers. Try that again. Delimiter. Let's see. My master page Stefan is now under my control. The latest chip I've installed in him seems to have taken, and he is now mine. The effort to capture one of these glowing ghouls was immense, but I can take solace in the fact that I have one under my control. His limited intellect means I will have to keep him downstairs with the rest of the ghouls, but I pity any rabble that pokes their head in here now. Disable chips. Yep, and we'd already disabled the chips. Okay. Alright, well. I have no idea why we are on good terms with this guy. Seems weird, and it seems like the only thing that they have done to possibly give you a hint that maybe you should shoot the surgeon is the fact that he's enslaving these characters and that he's a jerk to you.
I'm not in the mood for you, asshole.
Alright, so safety save. Inside of him would have been the surgeon's key, surgeon's lab coat, tinted. And that should aggro Steven or Stefan. which there's nothing on Stefan's person of that importance either. Is there another door in this map? No. Is there anything in this map? No. Was the surgeon potentially going to have done any great breakthrough scientifically for society? Not really, because he was just using them for his own protection. You could see the likes of the Enclave or some bad guys trying to use this technology to increase the number of super mutants and ghouls out there, not reduce it, where I am more on a complete extermination campaign. It sure feels like there should have been a bobblehead or a book in here. Yeah. But I didn't see anything like that. And I definitely do have a concern that that is going to happen, is that I'm going to completely miss that there is some kind of bobblehead somewhere. Like a Nuka-Cola Quantum, we did find that. There's no sewer grate or anything around here. Yeah, you would kind of expect there to have been a book or a bobblehead somewhere around here. I guess not. So yeah, you're once again left with just this odd feeling as to, could I jump down there and not die? I don't have 100% confidence in that. Yeah, you're left with this odd feeling that there was supposed to be a quest there, and that quest just did not get programmed. I'm sure I've gotten a lot of scrap metal, and maybe there would have been a path in which you could have used stealth and tried to sneak around this entire level. But you would have had to tell me that that was the goal. Like, you really would have had to given me a quest that says sneak through this entire area because it's incredibly dangerous. And that's just more evidence that I've missed things as I rushed through this area. And it would make sense if you were a much lower level player to sneak through something like this, particularly if you don't have the ghoul mask, which then stops them from aggroing on you anyways. And there's a lot of Nuka-Colas. I think my feet might be stuck in the ground. But I am moving really slow now. Yeah. My feet are stuck in the ground. Notice how slow, incredibly slow, I'm walking. Is there any way to get out from under this? Oh man. Suppose we could try and see if we could fast travel. Over encumbered. Ooh, how did I become over encumbered? Oh. Well, I guess that makes a lot more sense than my feet being stuck in the ground. Repair that, repair that. Go ahead and repair those. Alright, well, we're back in business now. Now just gonna be a question on how do you get out of here? Am I in some kind of looped area that doesn't connect to the other area? Might be at a certain level like that. This is an interesting experiment in having an open trash can. Yeah, you kind of don't want to follow the light now. But I don't think I want to go up either. This is going to suck because I'm going to end up probably in a high place I want to be, but not able to safely jump down to the low place. Maybe this will take us. No. This shouldn't be this difficult to find a way out. Here. Here. Down here. Jump down here. Maybe this way. Suffice it to say, it's too much. It's too windy of a level. Too easy to get lost. Please tell me this actually connects back. I think this does. We still very possibly missed a lot of scrap metal in this level, but I couldn't really care. Good reading. Good riddance.
Sorry, we've got practice. Maybe we'll cross sticks again one day.
This guy is still here. So if he was supposed to be scripted and walk somewhere, that's still broken. Okay. let's fast travel to Arlington Library. And then we kind of know that I thought there was a metro. There's this flooded metro, and we've been in that, and I don't think the flooded metro itself lets us reach our goals. Let's see if we can get to this Alexandria Arms, which is this way. If we can just walk this way, or if it is in more of the walled section. Maybe there's an exit on the other side of the Alexandria Arms to get you into Alexandria. Just a whole bunch of warts. Who is this guy?
Good to see you.
Just a wasteland. Interesting. Okay. So this looks like a whole slave area. And we haven't been here before. So yeah. I don't have any real... There's an elevator. I don't have any real motivation to deal with that wastelander, or even to know why he was there.
I'm gonna tear you up.
Seems like this is going to be raiders. We'll have to be careful not to pick up a lot of things, but we are definitely looking for bobby pins, if at all possible. This is funny, there's a broom here, and that's just like a 3D model that we don't see a lot of. So why does it exist? Alright, well, the next place to go would be, I guess, this way. This is an upstairs path. Yeah, I have no idea why he's wandering around. I assume he's just gonna get shot and killed by a raider. If he's somebody we talked to or dealt with 10, 20, 30 hours ago, how in the world would I be able to remember him? He doesn't even have a named title. Let's see. Bullets, desks, and light. A lot of this is same old copy and paste stuff that we've seen in so many other instances. And they have overused this expertly as much as Bethesda's style of trying to avoid making bespoke game content takes them, which it doesn't take them very far, frankly. Like, you've already had me say that this game feels like it was an unfinished product multiple times. Well, on top of that, you have a secondary criticism here where this game feels like they bent over backwards trying everything possible to make systems and procedurally generated content instead of just making good bespoke content. And in all fairness, I will say that they probably learned their lesson a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Because Skyrim does not play like that. Skyrim is much more around the idea of bespoke dialogue, story-based events. There's still a lot of procedurally generated garbage, but it is much more balanced out. And again, I'm not really looking at the entirety of the map for the room in favor of just trying my best to find collectibles. Come on, door. This door seems to be broken. You know what? I'm not even gonna bother to engage with them. I'll use them as markers. This is an oddly decorated room because it definitely feels like a bedroom, an apartment room, and none of the other rooms we've seen have that feeling. Milk bottle. Refrigerators in a hotel suite room. Don't make a lot of sense when they are full-size refrigerators. But I suppose at a point that probably was a height of luxury where there were full-size refrigerators in hotel suites. Nowadays, having a mini refrigerator with a overly priced alcohols and it is not really a luxury as much as it's just a scam to rip off people. Bobby pin. One bobby pin justifying all this searching. So you have another hotel here. Another opportunity to do something visually creepy or delve deeper into why the raiders capture and cage so many people, which I would like to know the answer to that one. Seems like they are actively killing people, sometimes to chop them up and eat them, maybe every time to chop them up and eat them, but there seems to be nothing more to the story than that assumption. This is going to be an example too of a area that's just going to have too much going on. We've gone from one section that was too maze-like into another section that potentially is going to be too maze-like. Although by keeping it as hotel rooms and knowing that there's just going to be some beds in the bathroom in each of these apartments, that makes it work a little bit better. Remember, we got that whole food sanitizer item and we've never used it. It just wasn't worth holding on to. It should have been a zero weight item. If it had been a zero weight item that you automatically had because it was like a perk, which honestly it should have been a perk, then I would have appreciated that concept and doing the whole Wasteland Survival Guide quest more. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. This may be the entire building. Like, there may not be anything special to this. Which, if that's the case, then what's the deal with the Wastelander guy? So that put us back where we were. Okay, so there was that one broken door. And then we may have to just doubly investigate. Let's go and hack this terminal too. Fortress. Modified. Benefits. Try that again. Volatile. Solution. Combined. It's easier just to guess than it is to try and figure it out. Skip through this. This is just going to be disengage lock anyways. There's nothing hidden behind any of these. Okay, paint gun. Nothing on that table. Some ammunition boxes. So we have a quantum and some empty soda bottles. Boy, they really just make it seem like Nuka-Cola Quantum is way more important than it actually is. And so this was the door that was blocked. And we now know why it's blocked. Go ahead and just force that open. Yeah, that was that door. So we could give Nuka-Cola Quantums to the addict. That lady who's addicted to Nuka-Cola Quantums. And I think that's pretty much all we can do with them other than just drink them ourselves. Have we been here? Yeah, this was where we last saw the Wastelander wandering around. I have no idea where he went after that point. And this is the way up we chose not to take. So if there was anything new or different, it would be here. I think we just have seen everything. I know I'm running through this stuff fairly quickly. And then you have this inaccessible elevator. And so maybe at some point there might have been an idea that we would have been able to go through this elevator down deeper. But I'm not getting any feeling that that's actually the case. If we were going to go through the elevator, it would have had to have been through this wall. And then there would have had to have been either something like down under this part of the floor, or a way up to a third floor. And I'm not seeing an indication that that would be the case. Yeah. There was a way down or up. Yeah, I wouldn't miss something that big.
Hello. Whew. I thought I was a goner. You saved my life. Here, take this. It's the least I can do.
So
I'll mind my business, you mind yours.
So apparently he just gave me some caps because I saved him. Like, because he had been, I guess, kidnapped. Alright. Before we fast travel here, let's look at our items. Yeah. I guess we have enough items. Not too many items. Let's fast travel to Hubris Comics. Hubris Comics. This is a more super mutant area. See. Headshot. Torso shot. Torso shot. Is there anything here of importance? No. So what do we want to really get off of these characters? Minigun. It's more minigun rounds. It's not really even a good reason to do that much. Alright. So I guess in these street areas there are some of these walk don't walk signs. This is Hubris Comics. The next closest thing would be the Citadel, which I feel like I can't actually reach the Citadel. I seriously doubt that. But then we also have Falls Church North, Falls Church East, and Arlington, Mama Dolce's, Arlington Cemetery North. You have Radiated Forest Place. What just exploded there? I have no idea what just exploded. Entire. Hopefully she doesn't get blown up.
Thank you.
Here we
Thank
have
you so
another
much.
instance of just like
I thought I was
the lighting
dead for
being
sure.
so broke.
Here, I managed to. You'd know.
Gain some karma. I lost some karma previously. And we have these like cages. Interesting, which are shopping carts that have been welded to be turned into cages. Alright, take note, this is a big area, and if there's going to be a big area like this, you would assume that there would be a super mutant behemoth that would attack you, or you could spawn it somehow. I don't know if that's really the case or not, but I am generally going to assume that to be. Where we are looking at the local map. Falls Church, Mason District Metro. Well, actually, right now is actually a good time where I'm going to have to take a break anyway, so let me pause this recording and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, so in between that bathroom break, I'll just admit it, started to feel a little tired, so I don't know how long I'm going to really stick out with this. This is interesting to just have kind of an area here that is nice and brightly lit because it's outside, but also seems to not really have any connection to anything. Yeah. That does seem a little odd. Let's see. Is this a path we might be able to take? We've seen these buildings used poorly. Just a sniper rifle character. Like, if anything, what this feels like is that they made a little bit of a concept of an area and then they kind of gave up halfway through and just decided to fill it with super mutants. Yeah. I think that is kind of the problem. There's an arrow here pointing towards a metro, though, is that everything in this world would really have so many instances. Yeah, we're working our way, I guess, to the Mason District, not the Citadel. Like, there would have been a person. There would have been a time in which raiders would have been here. There would have been a time when super mutants would have taken over. It just totally makes sense that this would have continued in a way. Like, people would have come in and then left and come in and then left in factions over the course of 200 years. Even if there was relative peace, you would expect any area to have such a history to it, such a significant changing. And see, this is seemingly just going to connect us back to the flooded metro. Is there possibly a case that this now twists around and curves around? And since now we have everything like marked on the map, there is this possibility that yes, there's going to be some building or something that we would find, but it would almost certainly be marked as a location. So, chain gate to flooded metro. We probably poked our head out of this side. and then said we would just come back to it later. Radiation doesn't even matter now. Yeah. It definitely feels like by the time the point when I would have come out of the flooded metro and seen this area, I would have not been leveled up enough to really handle super mutants. I really wish the game would just make a sound effect when you try to open something empty and just not do anything. You can see that the engine on this game is not particularly good. It's slow to pop up a menu. Maybe that was because originally when on the Xbox 360 and the consoles this would have been targeting, there wouldn't have been enough RAM, which that is totally believable. And so they're unloading the RAM and reloading the RAM for different things for the menus. Okay. Yeah, it seems like we just kind of went in circles there. And this was the part that exploded and we weren't really sure why it exploded. And here we can see these fire effects, which don't affect me and are floating in the air. And are just kind of glitched. These fire effects also don't really synergize well with the visuals of everything else in the game. They're too realistic compared to the visuals we see otherwise. But yeah, we are seemingly really close to the Citadel, and yet we still can't seem to get to it. And this is flooded metro, and this connects back to flooded metro. And this area definitely feels like it should have been where Super Behemoth Super Mutant would spawn, and yet he isn't. If he is supposed to spawn in this area. Okay. So it's either through here, which it really can't be. Falls Church, Mason District, Metro. We'll go in here, we'll look at the local map, we'll see what this shows us. This does look different. We don't have a map revealed. So I think it does. This may be the only way to get to this, into this area. What is weird here also, though, is that I'm fairly certain if I just did the main story stuff. Wow. This red roach doesn't even care about me. And when I kill him, I don't get any XP anyway, so just leave him alone. And this might be another case where the red roaches are just going to run like past me. And instead infect the overworld, because we saw that happen before where the feral ghouls were programmed to just run past me. Interesting that there's a book directly on top of that. That probably is a gimmick that should have been done a little bit more often. 10 Nuka-Colas removed for 1 Nuka-Cola Quantum. And another bathroom here, where we can search through all of these. We need as many bobby pins as we can find. Sure isn't a lot of stuff, though. Well, the problem now is there's just nothing that I really need or want. So we've got something shooting feral girls with a flamer gun. Raider. I don't know why this all goes in black and white now when it does these cutscenes. Right. Take the flamer. I would have thought one of those would have flamer fuel on them, but apparently not. This again feels like one of those scenarios where if my chroma was lower, maybe these guys would do some business with me and talk to me instead of what it feels like is just going to be some more raiders to attack. Let's see, mentats, blood packs, duck and cover. May get stuck here if I'm not careful. Like, it doesn't seem like you can crawl in there. Okay. And over here you have a diner.
It's go time. Call a doctor. We got a bleeder.
Which, yeah, these diners certainly could have played a bigger role in the game. We could have seen more of them. Them having one put inside a metro station is a little weird, but not that weird. Pre-war books, still kind of worth grabbing. Nothing in the suitcase, nothing on their person, nothing ever in the ovens. Ovens are another great example of something that probably shouldn't be searchable if all that's going to be in them is a pilot light. That once again just makes the game feel unfinished. Like, maybe on a few occasions you'll find a squab on a stick or something in the oven, but it doesn't happen often enough to justify its existence as a feature. And we've never really had to go this crazy looking around for things if there was supposed to be a bobblehead here. This really isn't the type of location where a bobblehead would likely be. Anyways, what could happen, certainly though, is that we could find that this metro station doesn't have an exit, and then we would just be back to square one. Certainly if there was no exit or no path. It looks like there is some of that though. Good. A lot of garbage on the ground. I'm glad we didn't run into a lot of that in the overworld where you're crawling over garbage in every direction. But it would be believable, certainly, if you were having to crawl over a bunch of garbage. Okay. So it seems like this will take you to Falls Church. Whereas over there, it does seem to be something else. So let's go and investigate the other side. Is there supposed to be something hidden back here? Sure. It's just random barricades and garbage for no reason. Let's jump over here and see if there's anything. Nope, not on this side. It just ends on that side. And I don't think these guys have bobby pins. Although, I also wouldn't have thought that they would have had stim packs on them, so I guess anything is possible. Yeah, just leave the rad roaches alone. They literally can't hurt you. You're so overpowered by them. In fact, I'm getting to that point, and I'm not sure where we'll actually hit that level. But it is definitely getting close to the point where the mole rats seem to be not interested in giving me any XP when I kill them, so wouldn't be surprised if eventually the mole rats just start walking past you. And that's what I'd like to see in all RPG games. It's just Franklin Metro Utility. Have we been to the Franklin Metro Utility? No, it doesn't seem like we have. Alright, well, save for a safety save. Go into this. Have we been here? Local world map. Nope. Before we do anything else though, let's go ahead and hack this computer too. Lending. That tells me anything ing is wrong, so then it's got to be sheriff. Okay. So I'm suspecting what will be the case is that this will be another area. There's quite a lot of stuff here. Got a hard terminal, and we've got a hard safe. Okay. Save. Open the safe. Almost got it. Nothing special there. Armageddon. Geothermal. Definition. Yeah. I could have tried that. Understand. Employment. Skip all this because it's just going to be a disengage lock. Okay. So we got a utility thing going down that way. Open trash bins. Pre-war books. A lot of steam going everywhere. A lot of this computer technology. Dead guy. Looking for scrap metal. If we find any. Really wish we had a flashlight. It's kind of ridiculous. We'll just see if we can force that one. Yep. I guess my suggestion probably would be get to somewhere. I would lean towards somewhere around level 17 or so, doing lockpicking and hacking of all the computers. And at that point, you probably should have your lockpicking skills to the max of 100. And at that point, I think you should just try to force any lock that has a 100% chance for sure, but also... Interesting, this turret's not even shooting at me. Stretching. Increasing. Separating. Let's see. Interesting. But see, that just caused it to kill something that I could have killed for XP. I guess I would say even a level 60 gamble on these things is probably fine. Because it kind of just doesn't matter on the ammunition box. Like, safes feel like they're a little bit more important, so you might want to be a little careful on lockpicking a safe. But an ammunition box, you might as well just force the locks on those. We are just going all over the place, getting a lot of books, which, yeah. wandering around a lot of places. Empty footlocker. So maybe this is an area that's an experiment in having the player search through the dark more. I'm glad they didn't embrace that idea. Although it kind of sucks that they didn't really embrace any ideas. I keep describing each section being fairly different from a different section as being an experiment, but in reality, I don't really believe they were experiments. I think it's just uncoordination. I think it's completely different teams being assigned completely different sections of the map and told to make whatever they want to make inside that map without there being a strong leader behind that idea, keeping the game thematically similar and keeping the levels thematically similar. I think we may just have to... Well, my weapon just broke. That's strange. Didn't feel like I'd been using it that much, but I have been dry firing quite a bit, and so maybe because I'm not using VATS, the amount of damage you take is way higher. Now that gun, though, is still here. It just has a damage of 0 and a condition and a value of nothing. So you're not losing a named gun just because of a careless implementation of your gameplay style. Right, so we go this way, I think. Right. Up here. Twist this around, around, and around. This puts me back up to there, and we came through that door. We went down this vent. So either I've missed something, which is probably the case, or there's some confusion here. Yeah, I missed this door. This blatantly obvious door right here. Okay, we have one way or the other. I don't know how I could have gotten to this area, but I'm also gonna have to just assume that I went far enough down these paths to see that there isn't anything there. At least that's my hope. I guess we'll take the high ground. See that there's nothing here. Then we'll take the low ground. There could be mines. This is another one of those areas where we seemingly are going to kick around a lot of bottles. We can swim underwater here to find a radiation suit and a mini nuke, which that's a cool idea. But I also nearly died there from lack of oxygen. We are over encumbered. Let's deal with that. Sniper rifle repair. Minigun repair. Flamer repair. Probably just drop that because we don't care. And then suits. Is it really worth it to repair your Ranger battle armor with almost a fully repaired Talon combat thing? Probably not. Read a bunch of books just to get them out of your inventory. Stats wise, energy weapons are now at 100%. Big guns maybe need 4 more points. Sneak is at like 87%. Unarmed is at 75%. And we've got 6 more level ups, so should be fairly easy to get everything to 100%. Seems like we may be transitioning now from a utility tunnel that leads us to ghouls to maybe even mirelurks. This gun is not strong enough to justify. Don't care. Take it. Take it. Take the burn master. Take flamer fuel. Don't care. So we have radioactive area and seemingly something more, maybe this way. Let's first take a rat away. Ooh, 2 rataways. We don't want to get our radiation too high. I suppose I should probably carry somewhat around. Oh, we're gonna have to start using bats again. I probably should carry somewhat around. Like, I'm gonna take some of these cherry bombs and see if I can at some point actually do the reverse pickpocket. Anyways, what I was saying is I should probably care about the item I just got. The weapon. But, you know, I just don't. Alright, whatever. Mole rat meat. Wonder glue. We do know that if we took mole rat meat and wonder glue back to that one specific location, we could make super mole rat meat. But you wouldn't ever actually do that. It's just too much of a journey. It also feels like if you were to sleep in an area like this, you should be attacked in your sleep. But it's also hard to see how something like that would integrate into an actual gameplay mechanic that most players would have to deal with throughout the entirety of this game. I almost have to assume when you look at this kind of barricades and everything that these were raiders that have been turned into ghouls. Interesting. So we've gone full circle here. So let's go check this out some more. This ends here, and then this would have gone here, and then this you can jump down here, so we may very well use this as a shortcut. Let's see. You have a workbench. You have shelves with probably enough things to build something, but I'm not sure what. And then seemingly nothing else. Damaged garden gnome, leaf blower, paint gun, fire hose nozzle, lawnmower blade. Yeah. If we come back to this area, we'll pick up all that junk and see if we can craft anything with it. Clearly, after this run, I need to make a trip back to the Megaton. You probably shouldn't have any empty Coca-Cola bottles in the game, because that does just feel like you're actively teasing the player when you see one of those, because you're implying that it might be not empty. Are we missing something here? You have this very brightly lit area. You've got a lot of junk that might be used for crafting. A lot of stuff on the floor. Human flesh versus strange meat. Yeah, I'm confused. This once again just feels like there's a metro section here that led us to a weapon, a named weapon, and that was it. It definitely does feel like exactly the case. Hammer. This would be one of those areas also where if games had the ability to let you just hold down the button and pick up everything in that area, even if it took maybe some life points or some stamina away, just be able to search draw a big white circle around an area and grab everything in it. That would be the kind of optimization I would really like to see, because in the real world, yes, you do have to manually pick up everything one by one. But who wants to live in the real world or replicate real world elements in a video game? There's literally not anything you can craft. And it's worth pointing out that a significant number, if not all of my schematics, are upgraded schematics, which should take less items, not more. So drop that, that, all 6 of those. That, and that. Could also certainly drop all blood packs for what little they're worth. Let's see. Big guns +2. For reading that. So just drop a whole bunch of stuff and land up in the trash can. Yeah. Doesn't it sure feel like there should have been some kind of note or something in this safe that was the big deal and everything else would have been secondary to that? Like, okay. Well, we went, I think, as far in this direction as we could. Yeah, this side just ends here. Let's look at that gun. That one's got my attention. The Burn Master does 120 damage and HP -2 for every 5 seconds. And we could repair it with a flamer to do 138 damage. It is obviously a named weapon, so we'll have to hold on to it, but yeah, I question what scenario you would use it in. It doesn't, like, even like a behemoth super mutant would be kind of hard pressed to stand still enough that you would want to that you would be able to burn it with a flamethrower. I guess an interesting question to ask is whether or not rad roaches should have always been just not really a threat. Now we go to Falls Church, not back to the Mason district. Had there been more animals that would crawl around and just be environmental settings, that would have been interesting. Particularly the rad roaches establish an idea of the world more than they give you a good. Let's see. So we are here, and I think I may have come out of this area. No, I couldn't have come out of this area, could I? Because if I had, oh, it would be on the map. I would have been through that whole metro section before. I came out of an area that was quite like this in the past. I mean, you can, maybe I did, maybe I was here and I just didn't go inside that door. That's a possibility also. See if this is empty. Yeah. I may have come out of a door here from Marigold Sedation and then only looked around, saw a bunch of super mutants, killed a couple of them, and then decided to go no further. And now we can go further. And here we have Paladin Ness. And here we have a Brotherhood of Steel Paladin. So is that like another scripted characters, named characters? Okay. So is there another Brotherhood of Steel character somewhere around here, or has my persistence just wandering around put me in a place where I should have run into these people further? This is Paladin Haas, not Ness. I misread the name. Once again, just feels like a pointless death for a named character. These super mutants really suck. They are bullet sponges, but then they don't give you any major returns. And I'm just trying to figure out if I can, through this rubble, somehow make it to the next area. There's nothing back here. You would have expected there to have been something back there. Like, not a single thing. Again, that feels half finished. Arlington definitely feels like the DC metro area, but not as complicated. So I have to kind of wonder, maybe the constraints, yes, the constraints of the real world related map is an issue, but I kind of feel like gameplay wise it would have made a lot more sense for Arlington to have been placed a lot further on the world map. Like, this section should not be right next to this section. It should be way over here in the corner somewhere where the map is fairly underused. There's a big empty space right here too. And that is one of the many benefits I think you get from having more of a fictional story instead of setting it in actual United States locations. Plus they had like 200 years to address that, so it's not totally silly or insane to potentially... That's a weird physics mistake. It wouldn't be incredibly silly or insane to write something like mad science has gone wrong and they moved all of Arlington a few miles in some direction. Am I going back to where I was? Yeah. It just looped back. I was thinking I might run into another metro station. There is a high road up that way, it seems. But this is actually taking me in the wrong direction for where I was going. There's a lot of dead super mutants for an area that's not marked on my map. What is this? Office building is what it's labeled as. Entrance. Okay. Let's go into the office building and see what this is. Is this going to be another dungeon? Or is this going to be something really small? I mean, it kind of feels like it would probably be something fairly small. There's booby traps. So we'll keep an eye out for those. Going forward. He's supposed to have a super sledge in his hand, but it just disappeared. Stepped on a bear trap. And it is getting so ridiculous that we're getting caps still. Like, theoretically, I guess I could just continuously play this game. And I would potentially be able to just get the amount of caps going higher and higher. It's almost like a Wario game, except for the fact that at the end of Wario games, you're rewarded for having high amounts of currency. In this instance, I think you're not going to get much of a reward. What I would really like to see is they could have given you a cap gun, which that would have been a funny pun on its own, but a gun that shoots bottle caps that does a lot of damage but is constantly reducing the amount of caps in your inventory and you can't recover them. So it would have to like melt down the caps into bullets. Which honestly you could have just created that system anyways, where you always had to melt down caps into bullets. And that would have worked fairly well. Definitely would help connect one gameplay mechanic into another. We're still looking for scrap metal, I suppose. Although, is there really a high chance of scrap metal being in this office building? Probably. Right. Safety save. Try this again. Load the safety save. I'm so glad we were able to avoid doing this for many, many hours. Initiate Peck was locked in a closet. Which it definitely makes it feel like the Brotherhood of Steel abandoned her to die and locked her in a closet. Which also, that definitely feels like that would have been a quest. Right. Can we do anything here? We can drop that. Alright, that. Okay. And it looks like we've looked at the local map and done everything here. So yeah, either Initiate Peck was locked in a closet and left in a closet, or... Oh, there was a safe here. Yeah. Yeah, either she was locked in a closet or she locked herself in a closet because super mutants infiltrated. That would be my take. And that looks like that was a side quest. And yeah, there's this weird situation with the Citadel where if we can find our way to the Citadel, which seems like it's going to be kind of a big if, then we'll start actually dealing with the Brotherhood of Steel. But it almost feels like you have to deal with the main storyline first before you can pull that off. And so maybe just all the quests in Arlington are somewhat centered around the Brotherhood of Steel first and foremost. There's yet another office building here. If we found another initiate in this area, then perhaps this is just how they train everybody, as they send all of their initiates into super mutant infested office buildings. Kinda does seem like that is exactly the case. And we're seeing a lot of female characters, so it then feels like there might even be a slight meta-narrative unintentionally being put here on who is failing to survive. Although, if you come upon a scene like this, where it's both super mutants and Brotherhood of Steel people dead, Like, maybe there was a third enemy. Hmm. Let's see. Here we have just a note. Like, nothing special about that note. That would have been fine if that was voice acted and we had just heard it as a recording, maybe even a creepy recording playing back over and over again. Right. Power armor. Power helmet. But yeah, if we find more initiates dead, we're getting these holotags. I'm hoping they're worth a large amount, whether that's going to be XP or what. Once again, overburdened. Didn't really check that map. Let's go back in here just to check the map first. Yeah, we're fine. World map wise though, neither one of those are fast travel locations. So if we can find Falls Church North as a fast travel location, that would be ideal. Then I can go back to Megaton, we can wrap up this recording, and then we can fast travel back to Falls Church North and see what that does for us. There we go. Falls Church North is yet another metro station. We don't have to kill everything around here first before we can fast travel. So, yeah, Falls Church North. Now, if we zoom out, means there's probably another metro station, Falls Church East, and I'm not sure if that gets us anywhere to Arlington Cemetery or if we can just walk there, nor am I certain if that gets us to the Citadel, but we definitely at this level are just trying to get to the Citadel, if at all possible. But I think it's fairly obvious why you wouldn't have run into the Citadel characters on your own effort. Like, if you have to wander through such a convoluted area, the odds of you just meandering into this area is very low. Remember also, these are super mutants we're dealing with, and even at my high level, they could overwhelm me fairly easily. Right, is that enough to fast travel? Yes, it is. Okay. Go ahead and reload our weapon. Yeah. I don't think we have any of these bobbleheads. And let's see. I think first thing we're gonna do is just take this. We'll be really over encumbered here. But the Burn Master Means we can probably get rid of the flamer. Burnmaster during 156. And we're just going to go down this line. Combat knife versus Occam's razor. We can get rid of combat knife. Combat shotgun. Fat man. The Gatling laser versus vengeance. This knife. It's laser pistols. I guess laser pistol can repair laser pistol. Laser rifle. We can probably get rid of. Miniguns. We can get rid of one of those. Missile launchers. We can get rid of one of those. Occam's razor, old painless. Let's see. This sniper rifle, reservationist rifle, is better than sniper rifle, so we can get rid of that. The sniper rifles. Kneecapper. Scope to magnums. Get rid of some of those. We haven't used this Ultra SMG in a long time. Vengeance. Now, advanced radiation suit. Here is a radiation resistance of 40, but the other one is only of 30. Let's see. This head wrap, we can merge. There's probably no reason to have leather armor. The lab coat here. Let's goes versus the other one. I don't want to get rid of either one of those. Linden's Outcast Power Armor can be repaired with just regular Outcast Power Armor. This Mark Adventure outfit. Smart Grunt outfit. Are grunt outfits better than adventure outfits? I don't think so. Metal armor we could get rid of. I don't think we'll ever be able to do anything with the naughty nightwear. We don't want to get rid of any of this. Outcast power armor. It's not as good as the prototype armor, I'm sure. Outcast power helmets. Maybe it's not as good as the other. We have two Outcast power helmets, so we should combine that. Power helmets in general should repair the Outcast power helmet. Pre-war casual wear. Relax wear. A lot of this pre-war stuff never played any role. Recon armor. Plus recon armor. Roving trader outfit with roving trader outfit. Some of these things definitely feel like these are like specific items that you're just never going to get another copy of, or another thing that you could repair with. Let's see, surgeons versus vault lamb. And it does definitely feel like the named items are specifically just different names on weapons that already exist. Alright, so now's the tough part. What are we keeping and what are we getting rid of? Combat knife, combat shotgun, Batman, flamer, knife. Lincoln's repeated this. Missile launchers. Yeah, that repellent stick, by the way, we also haven't done anything with that in a very long time. So yeah, I think I'm gonna sell all of those weapons, including this power fist. And then let's see. Let's see. Get rid of leather armor. I think that's fairly fine. Get rid of the adventure outfits. I think we can get rid of that fine. We'll keep the grunt outfits. We'll get rid of the metal armor. Get rid of the radiation suit. So much stuff. There really needed to be a different system here. Something that would have allowed you to sort things a lot better than how I'm sorting things right now. And that's still going to leave me fairly over encumbered, which is fine.
Good morning, madam. What can I do for you?
Get out of the way. As far as items, miscellaneous items, we will keep 2 of that. This dinner plate, this hammer, metro tickets, milk bottle, and we've got like 31 scrap metal. And over here we'll pull up the aid stuff. Nuka-Cola Quantums. We'll just throw in there. Purified water. Stealth boys. Strange meat. And I really don't even want to turn into sugar bombs, so I'm going to put that up too. Let's go ahead and sleep. 12 p.m. Should be enough to give us the well-rested bonus.
Here. You've done so much for us. I want you to have this.
Wow, it looks like her outfit's
It's all
getting
I have to
even
offer.
more fancy.
Certainly.
Have we just now possibly spent so much in the shops that it would makes sense that that their outfits would be at a 3rd or 4th tier of quality. You almost move into the range of like a god game or a simulation game, though, if Megaton was just going to get richer and richer. If you made a different texture for the walls so that they were shinier metal or getting painted some bright color, or looking nicer, like at a certain point you would be texturing the entire game, or at least Megaton, out of looking like Fallout 3. Now, in fairness, I hate the textures in this game. The color palette is awful. It's just a ton of gray and brown, and not visually appealing by any means, even for a post-nuclear apocalypse. But it is what they stuck with, for the most part. So it would be very weird if all of a sudden you started seeing them build things out of like wood or concrete when the outside world is fairly devoid of wood, trees, and the right kind of rocks to make concrete and bricks and things.
Yeah, what is it?
Let's see.
Well, all right. Let me count out your caps. Well, back to work.
That gets us over encumbered enough that we can come over here and actually sell some stuff.
Huh. Did
Okay. Repair the gold mask. Repair the gun. Sell
Sure
everything
thing.
else. Sell that, 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 that. 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 And that. That. I'm gonna hold on to the scoped one. See, now we're gonna have a real problem as far as buying things to counter everything else we just tried to sell. Like, we can buy all the bullets available. So yeah, I may be selling hundreds and hundreds of caps worth of things just for the max that she has.
Good hunting.
Just for time
ya.
saving sake, I'm gonna take that deal. And I don't even know why she had 1,500 caps there. That seems like an oddly high number. I guess we can go back to this. Just drop the squall on a stick. It's like, thanks for that. And now I'm gonna drop it. We have like 6 pre-war books, which isn't that many. We have 7 bobby pins, which isn't that many. We have insanely large amounts of even mini nukes. We have like 25 of them. Okay, well. Good news is we found Falls Church North. So we can fast travel here. And the other location we would be looking for is Falls Church East. And I think both of these are just going to be connected in a subway dungeon. So let's enter here. look at the local map. See, we haven't been here. And yeah, I guess we are well situated. So, yeah, I knew it was going to be a little bit more difficult to get these Arlington locations. Once we get to these Arlington locations done, which that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more locations. Citadel potentially opening up a lot more opportunity. Then we just have like the irradiated Metro, L'Enfant South, L'Enfant Plaza, so that's probably any opened up area. The White House, which we'll try to go to, but we may not actually be able to go to. And then Tacoma Park and Tacoma Industry, which maybe we can reach, maybe we can't. And after that point, I guess we probably should just move the main story forward, but I think I want to go to the Ranger compound and just turn in having found almost all of the locations. Now I am a little concerned because there's about 9 more locations that we haven't visited, some of which I think are very main storyline connected, like Vault 87 and Raven Rock. But that barely connects to the number of bobbleheads. So I feel like I probably have missed some bobbleheads in some locations, and at some point I think I will want to go back and get the bobbleheads for those locations. We have gotten some new weapons relatively recently, but we have not been able to get any new armor of any sort recently. Not that it really matters. If anything, I would prefer to have found more armor that does the exact same amount of damage resistance and simply reduces its weight, instead of something that increases our damage resistance because our health is just so high. We still have never really found a system or a reason to use the drug system much. Still struggling heavily with the bobby pin system. Haven't done anything with the holotags, even though we have a lot of them. There's several things that once we just turn in the holotags, once we turn in the Geomancer module of all the locations we found, we may be given enough XP that we are going to jump 3 or 4 levels, and we only have 5 or 6 more levels in total. Extremely late in the game, rads sometimes are playing a role, but almost so infrequently it might as well have not been a system. This could have been a scripted event, certainly, where you get into certain areas and you get radiation, and that affects how you perceive things or move or anything like that, and then you leave an area, you enter a dungeon, you start getting irradiated halfway through it, you become really sick from it, and then you leave the area and then you recover from it. It didn't need to be its own numerical role-playing system. Compared to, say, playing Dungeons and Dragons, where you need a set of rules because the dungeon master is going to tell any kind of wild story he can think up. Fallout, as a series, doesn't need those rules, because the only story that's ever going to be told is the story written for Fallout 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever Bethesda writes. Bethesda is not going to come in the next week and have a whole different adventure on the same Fallout stories. Maybe there was some thought that maybe Fallout 76 could eventually become something like that, but at the current moment, there really is no indication that they ever intend to fulfill on that potential theory. Charisma, we've never been able to do much with. Perception is useless because we just have high resolution video now, and you can look through the fog just as well. Agility would be nice if it's higher. Skills wise, almost everything is at the maximum. certainly. And next time I level up, Sneak is going to make its way to level 90. Unarmed will make its way probably to level 80, 85. Melee will get to 80. And then the next levels after that may all just be dumping into bartering. Even the Black Widow perk, which is something that we got, doesn't really feel like it was worth it. None of these perks have really felt like they were worth it. A lot of them I don't even remember that they even exist. Gain any comprehension obviously was worth it. Educated was worth it. Explorer was worth it just as a time saving, but you could have had a map printed online. But the rest of these are fairly useless. Fortune Finder gives you so much extra Nuka-Cola caps that it is ridiculously not worth it at that point. I imagine had I not taken Fortune Finder and taken some other perk, I still would have probably 10,000 caps at this point. Grim Reaper Spirit's not really worth it. Increasing your usefulness in specific types of weapons is maybe worth it, but you don't really ever know because it's just increasing number odds, dice rolls that are happening in the backgrounds. I think puppies is worth it. Oh, I forgot to get the dog. Come to think of it. Scrounger to find more ammunition was worth it in early game, but has stopped becoming worth it. Size Matters helped get big guns up 45 extra points. And since there weren't a lot of other options, that was worth it. Strong Back is worth it, and probably a perk that should have been available earlier. The tag skill was probably worth it. 10% damage resistance was probably worth it, but yeah. It's really hard to appreciate a lot of these. There's a whole bunch of numbers and stats here, but they've stopped becoming stats that I'm proud of and have now just become stats that I'm numb to. Anyways, let's leave it at that. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.